right, ladies and gentlemen, back at it on another MMA Nightcap Chat. My name is Eddie Law, part of Cageside your host for this show. Of course, I haven't done a Nightcap show in forever. And of course, as the name suggests, MMA Nightcap Chat. Jeez, I can't talk today. Is all about y'all, all right? Throw some in the comments. Hit us up on YouTube, Cageside Press on YouTube. And I'll be able to see your comments on there. We are also live on Instagram. We're live on Twitter, X, whatever you're calling it these days, and hanging out and on Twitch for about half hour here. So let's go ahead and talk about it, man. Plenty of fallout coming out of UFC 297. One of the things I saw today was Sean Strickland actually came out and put a couple different, and I would say different posts only because he put different captions on them, but Strickland feels that headbutt that he says happened. He actually shared a video of it. He believes that's what cost him the middleweight title. So you can see on here, a little different here. Usually, I don't like to put the behind the scenes stuff, but anyway, he says that the headbutt that Dricus du Plessis hit him with cost him the title, and he actually shared a video of it right here. If you guys go to his social media, you see the video playing. It looks like Dricus went down for like a takedown, came up and hit him in the head with hit him in the eye of his head. Obviously, you guys saw the blood coming down all over Sean Strickland's eyes, and he actually believes that that's what cost him the title. He said on X, he said, "We all know I won. The only reason why it wasn't one-sided for 5 rounds is the headbutt took my eye. Wasn't touched, the blood took my vision." So I rewatched the fight, and it's not that he wasn't getting touched, is that Dricus obviously did, the book of his damage up top with that. Obviously, there's other reasons why Dricus got the scorecards his way and everything, and it was a super close fight, so really can't call it a robbery. Sean just says that it was a headbutt that caused it. So on Instagram, though, he said, "I didn't take the coward's way out and tell the doctor I couldn't see and got a no contest. The only reason why you took a round from me is because I couldn't see. I won that fight. The world knows I won that fight. That belt they gave you will never make you a champion. Enjoy. They had to stitch through the muscle to get it closed. Thank you to everyone. Your support has really kept my head up high through all this. Grateful forever." So that part's the some people, "Hey, Alien, was good, dog. Good to talk to you." So, and now apparently we can get comments on X. So that's great. I didn't know that was a thing as far as on software I use. So, Mr. Oaks on Instagram says, "I've watched the fight 3 times. I still think Sean won." I had a score. So I live tweet for Cageside Press. So you guys see our Twitter on Fight Night, whether it's pay-per-view or just an Apex card or a Fight Night card, whatever. I do the live tweets for it. So I'm watching the fights while I'm live tweeting live. And I don't throw scorecards out there because, I'm not, I'm typing, I'm looking up and all that. Live, it looked like Sean Strickland won that fight. And I didn't think, that it was going to be as close as it ended up being. But watching it again the next morning, I still had Sean winning that fight because I didn't put a lot into the Dricus takedowns because there was not a lot of damage that he caused off of that. Like the bulk of his damage came after, the cut in the eye. Whether or not the headbutt, the video is not great. You can't really tell. Could have been a punch, could have been a headbutt, who knows? But Sean Strickland is adamant that it was a headbutt and it caused and everything. So it makes me wonder. And you guys comment in the comment section, whether it's on X, Instagram, or YouTube or Twitch. Do you think that we should get a Sean Strickland, Dricus du Plessis rematch, immediate rematch, based off how close it was, based off a possible headbutt, and based off of availability of Israel Adesanya or even Hamza Chimaev, who already threw his hat out there saying, "I'll see you at 300." First of all, you ain't seeing no Dricus du Plessis at UFC 300. Okay, if he didn't take the fight, the original, against Israel, that Sean ended up taking at 293, he didn't take that one. He's definitely not taking this one. His eye was messed up. There's no way. There's no orbital, damage or anything like that. Mr. Oak says, "Oh, by far it should be a rematch." Yeah, I'm not against that. If they did that right away, Nick says rematch as well. Yeah, so I'm not against it, right? Again, we don't know about Izzy. He might be ready, might not be ready. He did say he was going to take like years off, but he's already taken to social media talking about fighting. I'm not against Hamza Chimaev, right? Outside of kind of the same deal that that people said about Movzar Evloev. I apologize, Movzar. I don't know how to say your last name, so I'm just calling you Movzar. But kind of like on that, right? There's not that many recent finishes, right? Now, Hamzat has been facing way, tougher talent lately. Obviously, Kamar Usman, Gilbert Burns, guys like that. So that makes sense. But at 185, there's not a lot of sample size for him. That being said, I wouldn't be against it, right? And it'd be a draw and all that. But I feel like they're going to save Hamza up for the Saudi Arabia card in June, I want to say, which probably is going to be in a pay-per-view. Which, by the way, they moved that fight night that they were supposed to go to the Saudis. They moved it to the Apex. And the reason they did that, Dana says, is because he called and said, hey, we want to, I need to get pushed back. Some of the guys who went on there aren't going to be available. And he was adamant that people saying that it's because it was a weak card and the Saudis said, no, don't bring that BS over here. He says that's not right. Oh, it's not true. Take it for what it is. It's just end of the day, it's not happening. The fight's not happening in Saudi Arabia. It's probably going to be a pay-per-view in June, and that's probably going to be an Islam Makhachev card. Possibly Hamza Chimaev is going to be on there. So I don't expect a Hamzat or a Dricus or anything like that at 300. I also don't expect a Strickland Dricus rematch at 300 unless they throw a nice little Brinks truck at Dricus. So, because Sean Strickland will fight anybody anytime. He doesn't even care. So, Strickland was robbed. It was close. I wouldn't call it a robbery, but I get why people feel that way. It is what it is. Let's see who else we got. Like I said, I wouldn't be against the rematch. It wouldn't be something that I would be like, no, hell no, that's bullshit. It's not gonna, shouldn't be happening. I think it's all right. It's all good on that end. There we go. I like this better. Usually, I'm on the whole screen, but I like to have the background on there. Capitán Refugio, ¿cómo está? Hope you're doing well, buddy. Salute, my friend. Shout out to you guys on hiring Antonio Pierce, U of A, fellow alumni, as your head coach. Good luck to you guys on that. He's a hell of a head coach, honestly, and in terms of like a leader of men for sure. People talk about what he did in college, and as far as Arizona State as a coach, I can't even talk about that one because I'm not fully versed on that. But him being a fellow Wildcat, I wish him the best. Another storyline that came out today, and I'm gonna have to pull it up. I'm gonna have to give MMA Fighting a lot of credit on this one, just because it was a part of the MMA Hour. Juliana Peña came out and talked to Ariel Helwani about the fight between Raquel Pennington and Mayra Bueno Silva. Now, you guys tell me what you thought about that fight. A lot of people were not impressed. Most people were not impressed about that fight, right? Rocky fans were happy. Bueno Silva fans were actually kind of disappointed because if you look at the fight itself, Silva looked sort of unprepared in terms of the gas tank, right? So she looked like she gassed in the second round. Like, that was rough, right? And Rocky kind of just took over from there. So what do you guys think about the fight? Do you guys think it was a decent fight, a solid fight? Were you bored? Was that your bathroom break fight? A lot of people, the joke's always, this is the fight I'm going to take a bathroom break on and stuff like that. That's usually the joke, right? So what do you guys think about the fight? Let me know in the comment section here on YouTube, on X, on Twitch, or on Instagram, because we're also on there. So anyway, Juliana Peña, again, this is from MMAfighting.com because it was part of the MMA Hour show. She said it was quote, it was a snooze fest. I was not impressed with their performance, as my friend George St. Pierre likes to say. Nobody won. The fans lost. Literally, there was no winner. There's a lot of bad blood apparently between Pennington and Peña. Some of it might just be them trying to sell the more than likely next fight. According to Pennington, at media day, and I think at media day and even at the post fight, and at the presser, she was adamant that it was supposed to be her against Juliana Peña at UFC 297 for the bantamweight title, but Peña was hurt, couldn't fight. They threw Bueno Silva in there. MBS, meanwhile, on her end, she kept saying that it was supposed to be her and Juliana, but Juliana got hurt and they threw Pennington in there. Whatever the story is, it really doesn't matter. In my opinion, the fight itself wasn't the best fight. I expected way more from Bueno Silva, way more. She did not bring in the fire that I thought she would have. I enjoy watching her fight because she gets finishes, right? And to lose the way she did against Rocky, who's a durable, very tough fighter, puts pressure on, has a gas tank and all that. It's still, I expected Silva to win that fight. And for her to gas the way she did, like some people were saying she didn't have heart and all that kind of stuff. I don't agree with that at all. I just legit think she gassed because I get it. She was on the ground, on her back, resting, breathing, whatever. But when when it was time to go, she would at least do, sprints, bursts, short bursts of energy and all that. So, but either way, we're looking at Pennington Peña next. So this is what Peña told Ariel about the beef between her and Pennington. Quote, so we're on the Ultimate Fighter house. Pennington has to fight the semifinal against Jessica Rakosi. I apologize, Jessica. I don't know how you say your last name, but a very decorated 8-time world champion boxer. She can't get past Jessica, and Dana White tells her, throw your hands. And she's like, nah, I'm not going to throw my hands. And then when she loses the fight, she says, well, Dana was trying to tell me to throw my hands, and I didn't listen to him. And then what did you hear? 10 years later, she's saying, well, Dana wanted me to throw hands more, and he wanted me to press up and throw my hands. Something's never changed. I mean, golly, you think you get a clue. Now, think about, and then quote, the thing about Pennington is she doesn't listen a lot to her corners. Like during the fight, again, I rewatched it the next day. When I live tweet it, I mute the commentary and I just listen to music because I don't want to be influenced by what the commentators are saying. But the next day when I watch it, it's just normal. And she did kind of ignore the hell out of her corner for quite a bit of that fight. They take a ton of don't clinch, don't get close, just box, strike. And she would initiate in clinches quite a bit, right? Silva did too, but that was her game plan. That's expected from her, but not from Rocky. So that was weird. Nick says, I was talking about the Strickland fight. It was a close fight, but most of DDP volume was not significant. Strickland defensive abilities are deceptively effective. He was parrying, blocking, and checking the majority of that volume. Dude, he checked all kinds of kicks, almost all of them. It was kind of wild to see. Strickland didn't have a scratch on him until that cut. That cut didn't help with the optics. And that's the thing, right? So if you watch, watch it the next day with the commentary it focuses in on that, right? The optics aren't great. Bleeding out of the side of your face, not great. Having to constantly wipe your eye, obviously you can't see, but also just not a good look, just like you said. So, judges will look at that. Keep in mind, judging is still pretty crappy, right? We've seen some awful decisions lately. And so they'll they see the bleeding fighter and all that. And I mean, look, if you look at both of them like side to side, like their faces at the end of the fight, Sean's got a cut and now he's got stitches, but Dricus's whole side of his face was swollen, right? So there's that. I don't, and I'd have to rewatch it again because I can't remember off the top of my head, but I don't think there was a lot of damage coming off of the takedowns that Dricus got. So there's that. If that fight wasn't for the belt and Strickland wasn't champ, I wouldn't call it a robbery. But you can't take the belt by split decision. I'd be pissed off if Volk lost his belt to Ilia Topuria by split. And Dana did say that at the post fight. Dana had it for Strickland. He said, but he made the exact point you made. He said, and there's not a direct quote, but he basically mentioned that in his mind you have to beat the champ to be the champ, and he doesn't see this as beating him. And in fact, they actually told Dricus, because Dricus, after they told him about the headbutt, Dricus said, what did he say? He said that he wasn't aware of it, right? He didn't think there was a headbutt. But they told him, like, yeah, Strickland put this on Twitter, whatever. Whatever. And then he was answering a different question. And then you could tell that crept in his mind. He goes, just for the record, are there people that think I lost this fight? And the media guys, the press, we had one of our own, Jay Anderson, and they're for Cageside Press. But the media guys telling him, like, my bad, Otis. I thought I did, bro. I put it on Twitter, didn't I? Hold up. My bad, bro. That's my bad. I will next time. But I just went live about 15 minutes ago, so I got about another 20 to go. But Dana said, that they told him, Dana came in and said he thought Strickland won, and Dricus goes, well, that's bullshit. Is what it is. It's a hollow victory for DDP who wants to win the belt that way. Honestly, if you've been going for the belt forever, especially a guy like Dricus who's been talking about it forever, you take it whichever way you want. You can. You know what I mean? Who I wonder is if Anthony Smith Lionheart, if he thinks back to that fight he had with John Jones at 235, where he took that, I think it was a legal knee the legal knee, and he was rocked. He was kind of messed up. I wonder if he looks back and says, man, I should have done what Aljo did. Because and again, Aljo did get hit with Eagle shot and it did hurt him. But Lionheart was hurt too, and he didn't take the out, I guess you call it that. So I wonder if Lionheart thought about doing that. I was in the crowd for 235, and I remember yelling like, take the win, because I was not because I wanted him to be champion, not because I wanted the belt to change hands like that, but I was so irritated that John Jones should have been able to stop that fight, or to stop him in the first round. And you can call it laziness, you can call it him not taking the fight seriously. That fight should not have gone as long as it did. Not all. It went all 5 rounds, but it should not have gone as long as it did. Like, John Jones should have been able to finish from the first round. He didn't. And that's why I was like, no, fuck that. Take the title. I'm glad he didn't, because again, you don't want to see a belt change hands like that, but still. Otis says that was a very close fight. It could have went either way. Strickland should have been more violent. I think part of that is his defensive, just like Nick was saying earlier, his defensive strategy. He's not very tense, right? Like, if you notice Sean Strickland, he doesn't tense up like when he was like, waiting, and then throw as hard as he can, the way Drickus does. But he's relaxed, but he's not like noodle relaxed. He's just in there, just knowing that way the hand comes up quick and all that. There is a video I want to say. The reason I remember that, there was a video Sean Strickland, someone put out, of Sean Strickland coaching one of his teammates, telling him like, hey man, I'm not looking at your hands, I'm looking at your chest, I'm looking at your body language, but I'm relaxed, right? So I think that's part of that. The fact that he's just very just pop, 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 boom, pop, 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 boom. And he's not a heavy duty puncher, unless, he says on his punches like he did with Izzy, right? When he rocked him. But yeah, I was thinking about Anthony Smith, but he did the right thing. I agree. Respect and integrity is more important than the belt. 100%. I'm with you on that. Like, you do what you do. And again, not a lot of people feel that way overall. Sometimes some just want to take the win. Some just, they want to win it the right way and all that kind of stuff. So these are different things, and obviously different opinions from different people. Again, if you're on anything, whether it's Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, or X, whatever we're calling it now, throw your comments in the comment section. This is a chat. This is your show. I'm just hosting and starting out with some topics here. So that went down, obviously, and then Peña's yelling already and chirping, and she's never quiet. Not dissing her, I'm just saying she's never quiet, which is smart in a way. But that's the next fight anyway. So whether or not I would say they probably do it, if I had to guess, International Fight Week, but that's just my guess. I don't know. I do not know. Let's see what else is on here. Just going off the YouTube. Frankie Edgar got the induction. Talk about integrity and respect there, Nick. 100% Frankie Edgar is a Hall of Famer. I don't know if you guys remember, what year was that? Let's see. TV True Life. 2008. It was before 2008, I want to say. Frankie Edgar was on MTV. It was like 15 years ago, something like that. It was like a long time ago. But Frankie Edgar was actually on MTV's True Life, I'm a Fighter, right? It was him and his, I want to say it's his wife now. I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on that. But it was him and his girlfriend at the time, basically going through the early stages of a fighter's career, right? And then to see him go from there to the UFC and to a UFC Hall of Famer, to be a champion at lightweight when he's super undersized at lightweight, having fought BJ Penn, who fought in pretty much every weight class, almost, to moving down to 45, to moving down to 35. Like, he tried his best to capture gold again later on, but he was a really good longtime champion. So congratulations to him. It was dope to see the video and him being there to, get the love from the crowd and everything. You got to love Frankie Edgar, man. One of the best to ever do it, and a pioneer, honestly, of the sport. Nick says, seems obvious from a business perspective, UFC wanted DDP to set up UFC Africa with Izzy. True. And as people were saying, corporate pressures from Disney and other agenda companies. So the UFC Africa thing, I agree with you. I think, again, the UFC they're the best to do it. You can't knock it, right? They're the best, promotion in the world. But they, for some reason, seem to constantly drop the ball, right? You had 3 Mexican champions. You had Brandon as the flyweight champion. You had Yair as the interim featherweight champion. And you had Alexa Grasso, who's still the flyweight champion. You had 3 of them, and you didn't go to Mexico with those 3. Like, you didn't. Instead, they're going to Mexico City on the week of February 24th, on February 24th for the fight with Brandon Moreno and now Brandon Royval because Albazi got hurt. So that was a weird one, right? And then you had Ngannou, You had Izzy, you had Kamaru as champions. Still didn't go to Africa. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it seems like, I think you're probably right, Nick. Now that Dricus is a middleweight champion, they'll definitely be looking at South Africa, Johannesburg, wherever. But I wouldn't hold my breath for it to happen anytime soon or next for him. So I would expect probably to see Dricus. Man, let's see if Connor's doing International Fight Week and it's not for a belt. More than likely not for a belt, unless they make up a belt or do the BMF belt or whatever. But I can see Dricus in two. He's going to take his time coming back. This is the kind of guy he seems to be anyway. UFC in Africa would be honestly be incredible. To be honest, it would be like Thriller Manila and all that. So not Manila. My brain's messing up here. Africa. Let's see, what was it? What were they called? The Rumble in the Jungle. Thank God. All right, the Rumble in the Jungle. Muhammad Ali, and it could be they'll try to promote it sort of like that, right? Was it George Foreman who he fought? Damn, this is like I was way before I was born, but I want to say mid-70s. I don't know if anyone can knows it off the top of their head or whatever, but it was Rumble in the Jungle. I remember that. So I mean, I know the name. So could be something like that. So I read that book, The Power of One, and lots of fight fans in Africa. 100%. And they're gonna have a PI there and everything. So just like Mexico has a PI, just like China has a PI, or Mexico's building their PI, but Africa's gonna have a PI. They don't already are already building it and everything. But yeah, man, they got some talent there too, man. Don't get it twisted. All right, let's see what else we got tonight on the old chat here. Got about 10 minutes or so left. Oh yeah, Chris Curtis went off on again talking about commentary. Chris Curtis did go off on Dominic Cruz and DC, mostly Dominic Cruz, but I think let me see if I can find the quote here. He was on the MMA Hour. Yeah, okay, so this is Chris Curtis talking to Ariel Helwani saying, quote, "I get shit on by DC and Dominic Cruz every time I fight, no matter what's happening. DC was kinder than before, but Dominic Cruz is just like, it looks like he's sparring and blah, blah, blah. Bro." And he's talking about, he fought Marc-Andre Barrios, the power bar. He says, bro, he's a solid man, right? He's been knocked out once. I have been knocked out once. It's not going to be easy to knock the other down. It's just not. I hit him with some shit that I've dropped people with, and he just kind of looked at it. I elbowed him a few times. I wanted to move in. He's just staring at me like he's back there. I hear Dominic Cruz say, it's just like a sparring match. And then, not to be a dick, but people are going to latch onto what the commentary says. And now I hear, he didn't even fight hard. It was low energy sparring match. Stand in front of me and let me hit you the same way. Marc-Andre Barrios is a fucking tank. The dude's been stopped once, and that's why. I don't know where you guys found that man, but he's a tank. I hit him with everything in the kitchen sink, and he stayed on his feet, and he kept throwing back. That dude hit me with some shit, and my face still hurts today. But because of Dominic Cruz's stupid fucking commentary, I get to hear it's a sparring match and low volume. This is why I watch fights with the volume off. This is exactly why I do it too. A lot of people complain about the commentary in the UFC, and a lot of it, honestly, is mainly Dom Cruz and DC. Joe Rogan's kind of just, he kind of latches onto one side of the fight and kind of never switches to the other side. Dominic Cruz does a decent job of talking about both fighters and giving them both props, but he's right. Again, watching it on Sunday morning with the commentary on, with the volume on and everything, Dominic Cruz was calling it a sparring match. And it's just like, yeah, maybe from the outside and everything, but you don't want to, like, both Curtis and Power Barbario are like heavy hitter dudes, right? You don't want to make a mistake and get knocked the hell out by either guy, because it can happen. It's very easily can happen. Those guys hit like trucks, but it's one of those things where they were very wary of each other's power, so they're not trying to put themselves in danger to get a finish and all that at that moment. You don't chase the finish, you let it come to you, right? A lot of guys do that. Some guys chase it and they're just like, hey man, kill or be killed. Bobby Green's one of those guys. Joe Rogan fixated on leg kicks, but I still love him. It's Rogan has been doing it for so long, and it feels like every year he's saying like, this might be it, this might be it, this might be it. And he's still doing it because he loves it, but he I don't know, it'd be weird to not. It's weird to not hear him on pay-per-views. Like in Toronto, he doesn't go international anymore. He used to go to all the pay-per-views. He used to do all of them. Then he's like, all right, I'm only doing pay-per-views. And he's like, all right, now I'm only doing pay-per-views, in the States. Like, I wonder if at some point he's gonna be like, I'll do it if I feel like it. Shit like that. So they got a lot of good commentary, guys. I would prefer to see Sanko in a pay-per-view in place of Dom. I'd like to see DC, Sanko, and Anik on there. I'd like to see Paul Felder in there with Biss being an Anik. There's like different combinations you can do in there that you can you can change it up a little bit, and people will start complaining and everything. But first of all, people can complain about everything and anything and everything, right? And second, it just kind of is what it is. Funny enough, I always laugh when people, when I'm hanging out with friends and stuff, but they're like, "Oh, the commentary sucks" and all that. And I go, "Look," and again, guys, all due respect, I love Big John, but I can't listen to him on the call. I just can't do it. And so him, and then like I like Dan Hardy too, but he kind of gets a little stale too. So who knows? I recently discovered Rogan was doing the commentary for free in the early days. Yep, because UFC couldn't afford to pay him. 100%, he was doing it for free, and then he obviously started getting paid. And apparently, according to Dan, he gets paid pretty well. So if you think about all the income, all the revenue streams that Joe Rogan has, between all his investments, between the comedy club he has now. I don't know if that's making any money, probably not, but and then on it, and then the comedy, and royalties and all that from comedy, and from he did what was her name, News Radio, that sitcom back in the day. Like, he's got so much money coming in. That dude's set. His family set for generations. They're good. He doesn't have to do this stuff at all, but still does. So good for him. Fun fact, not even fun fact, but weird fact. I haven't listened to the Rogan podcast in forever. Like, I only listen to it or watch it like if there's like a fighter on. And even then, like these days, I just haven't, because it kind of goes to the same thing. It ends up being like, you talk about fights, and then like as soon as you start talking politics with me, it's just, if I'm listening to your podcast, it's a fighter, and you start talking politics, I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it, dude, cool. Like, and that's just me personally. A lot of people like when the politics comes up, cool, good, enjoy it. I'm not that guy. If there's a fighter on there, a comedian on there, I want to hear funny stories. If it's a fighter, I want to hear interesting facts, stuff like that, whatever, fight stories, whatever. But the political stuff got really old. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not even one of those people that's like, keep politics out of this. I don't. It doesn't bother me like that much, like that. But if I'm like sitting there and I'm listening to your podcast, or I'm watching you, and it's supposed to be a fighter or a comedian on and everything, and it goes like heavy politics, like, then I'm just like I tune out really quick, or I fast forward or whatever. But again, freedom of speech, man, you're allowed to say whatever you want, speak about whatever you want. It's kind of a little tangent there. A few minutes left here. Let me check some more of the headlines for today. I was messing with the idea of doing this every night, but it feels like it'd be a bit much. So I think I might try it again on maybe Wednesday. We'll let you guys know. But let me know in the comment section if you're enjoying this, if you like this kind of format, if you like to chat back and forth. I enjoy doing it. I like going back and forth. I like discussion and all that. So, yeah. Get just a couple more minutes here. Let me check some more headlines. I don't know if you guys saw it. Izzy put a video on YouTube, and it was him talking about the fight. And, he was almost celebrating. Strickland lost, and then someone in the room goes, "Man, what a rain it was!" And he just burst out laughing. And a lot of people's reaction to that was like, "Okay, he's the one." But Sean Strickland, not only did he drop you, but he beat you. It's like, damn. So anyway, moving on. Ooh, okay, this is a fun one. Dana White talking to, who is he talking to? It doesn't say who he was talking to, so I apologize. But apparently the deal with ESPN's coming up, and they're gonna start doing talks for like a re-up in the next few months. Oh, it's post-fight. It's post-fight presser. So apparently they're gonna start, UFC and ESPN are gonna start working on a new TV deal soon. I wonder. So Wednesday, for example. Let me see. I don't think I have a graphic for what happened on Wednesday, so I just find the first thing of Sean Strickland that I can find. Let's go. There we go. All right. So Strickland on Wednesday, if you guys didn't hear, which I'm sure most people did. Real quick. His podcast with Roger Waters from Pink Floyd was good, and Chito Vera one I liked. I didn't know he talked to Roger Waters. I might have to look that up. Do you think Cheeto Vera can beat Sean O'Malley? He can. I don't know if he will, but he can. The first time, you guys remember, Cheeto kept calf kicking this dude like crazy in the first fight, and that's what ended the ended up Cheeto winning that fight. But Sean O'Malley has evolved since that fight quite a bit, and I just don't. Cheeto didn't. In course, I think it made him look silly as hell in Tennessee. So I don't see him winning. He could. I wouldn't be mad at it. I like Cheeto Vera. He's fun. But yeah, I bet UFC won't let Cheeto Vera get the belt by split decision. No, no. Here's the fun part, the crazy part about Sean. And again, I know we're talking Sean Strickland here. We'll talk Sean Strickland here to end the show. But the thing about Sean O'Malley, UFC 299, Miami, right? They stacked the hell out of that card, presumably because Sean O'Malley doesn't draw very well. And so I didn't look into the numbers. I didn't look into subs on Twitch and whatever else he's on. But the majority of his fan base feels like they're like young kids, right? Because he does the Twitch stuff, he does the video game stuff and all that. And he's got the, the colorful hair, wild personality, whatever. But it feels like he doesn't draw. I mean, it seems like he doesn't draw very well because they stack 299 so much that 300 kind of becomes an afterthought as of right now. Again, main event hasn't been announced yet. We might get a crazy main event that might just blow 299 out the water. But if you look at UFC 299, see if I can pull up the card here. Main event: Sean O'Malley, Cheeto Vera, co-main Dustin Poirier against Benoit Saint-Denis, which is a crazy fight. But after that, it's Katlyn Chookagian against Macy Barber. Okay, I mean, Katlyn Chookagian is a cardio machine. Peppers you, scores points on you. She's not going to finish you. Macy Barber tries to finish you, but she's gotten away with a couple. Let's just say a couple decisions. You're just sitting there going like, "What? What just happened?" Then after that, Curtis Blades against Jotun Almeida. Then Mateusz Gamrot against Rafael dos Anjos, crazy fight. Pedro Munhoz against Kyler Phillips, great fight. Karine Silva against Aaron Lipsky. I know a lot of people don't like women's MMA. That's a great fight. Tune in for that one for sure. CJ Vergara is a dog, taking out Asu Amabayev. Then Gilbert Burns against Jack Della Maddalena. Jack getting a crazy step up, honestly, in my opinion. Peter Yan and Sonya Dong. These are all prisoners, by the way. Kevin Holland against Michael Venom Page. Then you got Josh Parisian against Rebellious Despain. Michelle Pereira against Mikel. I call him Alphabet, but it's like Oleg Sages. I don't know how to say your name. Sorry, Michael. But anyway, that card's pretty damn stacked, right? And I'm sure there's fights that I completely spaced on right now. But that's a great card. But again, who knows about Sean O'Malley being a draw. I enjoy watching Sean O'Malley. That right hand he dropped, or he finished Aljamain with was nuts. And he's got a fun style about him. So why he's not a huge draw with with adults, I don't really know. But I would have tuned in even if they didn't stack the card. I would have tuned in for that fight. That's a good fight. Let's see. Check in comments here on Instagram. If you're on Instagram, say hi. Say what's up. Got about a minute here left. I think it would be emotional if Cheeto becomes champion. Cheeto Vera started MMA to pay for his daughter's surgery. I think she had a vision. She has some issues, but like she had the one that was like the eye, or he wanted to make sure she could smile, and it was that got him through the Ultimate Fighter and all that. So, dude, if he wins the title, that dude's gonna lose it 100%. I wouldn't be mad about it. Anyway, to finish up the show, and again, this is Sean Strickland on Media Day. If you guys saw the exchange he had with Alexander Lee from MMA Fighting, that was a wild thing to watch. From what I heard from some of my friends in the media room that night, from what I heard, it was pretty damn tense. And I got to give it to Lee for keeping it together and everything. But there's a lot of people. But first of all, let's talk about the ESPN UFC thing, right? A lot of people thought that ESPN and Canada, itself, would find a way to pull the fight because of the comments that he made. They don't want that kind of bad publicity and all that kind of stuff with Sean Strickland, making the comments that he made. But it's just too late at that point, right? Even a young lady on TikTok, posted the video, and she was just like, "TikTok, do your thing." And I remember I saw that someone posted it on Twitter, the video on Twitter, and I saw it, and I was like, "Yeah, you don't know Sean Strickland," and that's not excusing his behavior. That's just saying like like I think Dave Chappelle said it. He said, in order to get canceled, you got to care. If you don't care, you can't get canceled. Sean Strickland don't care. Go cancel him. He don't care. So, but anyway, so that aside, I don't know if that's going to come into play with the UFC ESPN deal. Dana has been adamant before that he will not let sponsors tell him what to do, what he can say, what he can post, what his fighters can say, and everything. But I wonder if a broadcast partner could. You never know. That's a question for him and a post fight. And again, if you ask Dana a question like that, be ready for the answer. So that's comes into this, right? The question Lee asked was about homophobic tweets that I haven't seen them personally. I mean, I didn't see them when they happened. I saw him now, after reading up on the whole thing. But talking about he's tweeted something about gay son and all that kind of stuff. And the reporter tried to get the question out. Lee tried to get the question out about because there's a decent sized population LGBTQ. I don't know all the letters. I'm sorry. Community in Toronto. He was asking him about that, and Sean went off. And it would have been one thing if Sean said, "This is silly," whatever. It would have been another thing if Sean said, "No comment. I don't want to talk about it. I'm not going to answer your question," or even like a F you to the guy without doing what he did. But then he targeted him. You're the reason. He's the reason. Blah blah. And like he went at him. And I get what he's saying. I understand he has an opinion and everything. And I get that people think that the question was like a loaded question. To be fair, he didn't really let him finish the question, so that's one thing. But people were like, "Oh, he's just trying for a soundbite. He's trying to get a controversy." Okay, yeah, maybe, right? Possibly, I don't know. Me personally, I don't have a problem with the question. And I don't have a problem with the answer. Again, freedom of speech. They ask you a question, you answer how you want to. And, even though it's freedom of speech, you can say what you want. There's no freedom of consequences. If there's consequences, that's one thing. What are you going to do? But you are allowed to say what you're going to say or what you want to say. It's not free of consequences. That's one thing people miss about freedom of speech. But what I didn't like was the reaction to the question from fans and from people like, "Oh, well, you should have known better," and all this stuff. And it's just like, well, yeah, I know Sean Strickland's brash. I've been in the media room with Sean Strickland before. I've seen him not fun target, not like they did at 297, but like having fun with reporters. Like Alex Behunin from Peña, he went in there with this chain, and Sean Strickland poked at him about the chain. It was hilarious, and they're kind of buddies now, which is cool. But then he went after a couple reporters, one guy in Australia about all these piercings and looking like a weirdo in like overalls or whatever it was, and I don't really know who he was talking about, and then and a bunch of other stuff. So anyway, just my 2 cents on this. The reaction from the fans to either the reporter asking the question or even Sean Strickland, the way he's saying it, it's just, I guess mostly because maybe I'm sticking up for the reporter, I don't know, but I thought that was wrong to go at him personally as the fans, not Sean Strickland. I get it. I had no problem with the question. I had no problem with the answer. It was people going after the reporter that weirded me out a little bit, because those same people, those same fans that say, "Oh, you don't ask a question about from a fighter," are the same people that say, "Oh, these guys are asking softballs. No one asks a real question. We need some real journalists in there." Well, what do you want? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you want real questions? Do you want tough questions? Or do you want softballs? Because you can't have both. Or maybe you can, but you can't complain about both. That's just my 2 cents on that. And again, it is what it is. And some people, I get the sentiment of it. Sean Strickland, you better expect that kind of answer. I guarantee he did expect a rough answer, right? Probably didn't expect to get personally targeted like that, but it is what it is. We move on in this game. So yeah. All right. Let's go. Oh, Jesus. Here we go. No UFC event this weekend. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's next. Fuck it. I'll put the UFC website on. Oh, O'Malley definitely has an amazing skill set and style. Pity he's a tool. I don't watch any of his like streams or anything, so I don't really know. I do watch his interviews and stuff like that, and yeah, I get that. Actually, no, this is so no event this weekend. Actually, you know what I'm thinking? There is something this weekend I want to say. Give me 1 second, guys. When is that card? Is Bellator vs PFL this weekend? I don't think it is. Is it? Oh no, that card's on the same night as UFC Mexico, right? There is a presser thing coming up this week. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, so yeah, all right, got about a minute here left, guys. If you're on Instagram, Twitter, or YouTube, leave a comment. I'll read it real quick, and then we'll call it a night. All right, so not obviously February 3rd is next weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend. Dolitz against Imavov. I believe this is not a terrible card. It's an Apex card, so it is what it is. And another one, kind of against Drew Dober. That's a good fight. Randy Brown against Muslim Sadikov's a good fight. Let's see what else we got. Araujo against Silva's pretty solid. I like the way Natalia Silva fights. She's got this like cutesy thing to her, but she's like a beast. She's kind of scary sometimes. Molly McCann against Diana Belbita in the prelims on an Apex card. That's okay. Charles Johnson's back. That's cool. Then Garimbo against Pete Rodriguez. This is a great fight. This Garimbo Rodriguez fight's gonna be on Dana's if you don't know now you know thing. I guarantee it. And so yeah. Oh, Jamal Pose is on there. Cool. Jamal Pose is funny. That dude, like his post fights and his media day stuff is definitely worth watching. Then February 10th, Jack Hermanson against Joe Pyfer. Beat Joe Pyfer. Clomane, Dan Ige, not Lauren Murphy. Lauren Murphy's out. Andre Feely, which I argue is a better fight. Duraev against Drizek. Tavares Rodriguez is gonna be good. Johnson Fowler is gonna be good. Vieira Petrosian should be pretty good. What else we got on here? Devin Clark is back. Jeremiah Wells and Max Griffin should be pretty solid. Zach Palga is trying to make a statement. One of my guys just talked to him not long ago. I apologize. I can't remember. I think it was Dylan Napoleon. So, yeah, is Dylan Napoleon or it was Jake? Okay, I feel like an asshole. I'm gonna have to look that up because I don't like to not give my guys the credit they deserve. So give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna find out who did that interview real quick. Or maybe I'm not. Let's see. It was Dylan Napoleon. All right, cool. Dylan Napoleon, Cageside Press on YouTube. You guys can find that one. Should be pretty solid. Aussies respect Strickland for being real. I think most people do. I think it's one of those things where it's like if you like when you real recognize real and everything, but you like to see someone that says what they mean and mean what they say. I think with the politics of the last handful of years, well, to me, in my opinion, always, but the politics of the last few years, especially, or let's put 20 years, the last 2 or 3 administrations have made that like a thing in terms of like we get BS so much that when someone's finally real and not political, you appreciate it. He's standing up against indoctrinating children in school with alphabet agenda because that's happening in Australian schools and Canadian schools at the moment. He's not homophobic. Yeah, dude, I don't think he's homophobic. Really, I think he's just stating his opinion. But there is a thing with because I don't know. I don't know if I would. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm not sensitive, so I don't know. I don't take those comments crazy and everything. And again, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, including Sean and anyone that disagrees with what he says. But still, like it's a wild world, man. Wild world. That's about as far as I'll take that one because I'd have to think about my opinion on that for sure. Now that you mentioned that. All right. Then February 17th, UFC 298 out of Anaheim, Volkanovski Tuporia, and the co-main, I believe, Jeff Neal against Ian Gary, which Ian Gary's just taking L's left and right. Maradovashvili against Henry Cejudo. Fluffy is not Aliskerov anymore. They're looking for a replacement. Aliskerov got hurt. And then Mackenzie Dern stepped in against Amanda Lemos. So, I mean, overall solid cards. So, again, nothing this weekend. Next weekend, there's a Imavov. After that, Hermanson Pyfer, Volkanovski Tuporia, UFC 298 on February 17th. Which is my birthday, so I'll be here covering it because Rodrigo Gonzalez is going to be there covering it for us. And then Moreno versus Royval 2 out of UFC Mexico. And then, of course, O'Malley versus Vera, UFC 299 Miami, Florida in March. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Oh, what's up, Jim? I got Peter Rodriguez for the knockout. I got Drew Dober for submission. I can see both. I think Drew would probably possibly get a knockout, but still. Peter Rodriguez KO. Yeah, he's a dog. All right, guys. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Again, MMA Nightcap Chat. I'm going to try and make this thing as often as possible. With no UFC this week and obviously storylines popping off and stories and everything coming up all the time. I'm sure I'll be back this week. But shout out to everyone who tunes in. Nick, Jim, Otis. Who else we have? Capitan de Fucho, MMA Alien. Everyone tunes in. We appreciate the hell out of you guys. CageSidePress.com for all your MMA news. At Elaw32 for me on Twitter. Elaw52 on Instagram. So hit me up. Let me know what you thought of the show and all that. Leave a comment on this and let me know what you thought. Would you like to see more of this kind of stuff? Yeah, see you guys on the next one here. Jim, one last comment. Everyone thinks Drew's going to get the knockout, but he's going to get his 6th submission or he's going to tap himself. Hey, man, kill or be killed. We love that out of fighters, all right? Love you guys. Good night. Catch you guys on the next one.